You're listening to Podketeers.
Welcome to episode 437 of Podketeers. This week it's the 1-year anniversary of Quizneyland. We talk about a super cool 3D print file that you can download for free. We comment on the Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special trailers. We give our thoughts on Werewolf by Night, and Doctor Who is coming to Disney+. We'd love for you to join the conversation on our social networks, including Instagram and Facebook, but it would be great if you joined us on our Discord server. Joining the community is super simple. Just head on over to podketeers.com/links and click on the Discord button to join the community. A very special thank you goes out to an awesome group of people known as the FGP Squad, our podcast Fairy Godparents, because it's their support via Patreon that help make these episodes of Podketeers possible. As part of the FGP Squad family, you get some additional perks like exclusive discount codes for Podketeers gear, additional content like the Podketeers After Show, and access to our happy hour calls, just to name a few. For more information on how you can become part of the FGP Squad family, we invite you to check out podketeers.com/FGP. And as always, a super special thank you goes out to the FGP Squad for their continued support. Teamboat Willie is raising money to help get rid of women's cancers as we participate in this year's Walk for Hope. We're trying to raise $1,000 to help the cause, so if you can help us by making a small donation, any donation will help. If you have $1, $5, $20, $1,000, anything helps. A link to our donation page is available at podketeers.com/links. If you have any questions, please reach out. We'll be happy to answer. But if you want to join our team and be a part of the fun, we would love that as well. Both options to join the team and to donate are available on the Teamboat Willie fundraising page. Again, you can find that link by going to podketeers.com/links. We have some auctions coming up via Instagram in order to try to raise some money, so make sure that you check out Instagram, our stories, for information on when those will be available. And to everyone that's already joined us, to everyone that's donated, thank you so much. We truly appreciate it. As we say, as part of Teamboat Willie, let's change the world. So that's it. It's time to get the ball rolling on this episode. If this is your first time hanging out with us, welcome. We hope that you enjoyed the episode and that you come back for more. And of course, if you've been hanging with us for a while now, welcome back, friends. Here is episode 436 of Podketeers. Oakley dokley do.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
Nope, that was perfect.
I don't think anybody does.
Dokily do. Friggin'
The only
Flanders.
way to respond to that is to walk backwards into a hedge very, very slowly. I think that's the only way to respond to it.
Dinkelberg. That's the wrong show.
How was everybody's Halloween?
Halloweeny.
Yeah.
We're recording this Halloween week, but, you know, obviously this episode is coming out after Halloween.
In Christmas time.
Oh,
It's
geez.
Christmas time.
November 1st is Christmas time, right?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
It's Christmas.
Yes.
Christmas time is here. I'll sing it a happy way. Christmas time is here. That's the sad version, but I love Christmas.
We can add some cool guitar riffs to it. Make it all rock.
Has somebody put that song in a major key? Let's see, Christmas time. It's got to be, you know, because that's like in a minor key and it's all sad. I wonder if anybody's put that in a major key.
Christmas time is here.
That's joy.
That's horrible. That sounded like cats doing weird stuff at night.
You know what? It's I don't know. Anyway, Christmas time is here.
I guess it's easier to just stick to Halloween one last time.
Fine, Halloween,
listen.
Halloween, everybody.
I am overly caffeinated. This morning I had like the worst headache in the world, and now I feel like I have a headache from over caffeinating.
Oh.
But on the plus side, I probably don't have to sleep for the next 3 days.
Okay, you have a chance to be really productive. Yay.
Right?
Yeah, you can finally get
Right?
the, inside the
I can
microwave
finally catch up on some
cleaned and
work.
under the
Right?
refrigerator. Untangle all those Christmas lights from last year that you left tangled up. Easy peasy.
You know what? I
Great
just
stuff.
got sleepy. I just got sleepy when you said that.
No.
Just thinking about that ball of wrapped cables that are just completely tangled. Yeah, I can't do that.
You know what? I'm going to have to come over there and teach you how to wrap cables the right way, Heyzen.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah, easy peasy. Anybody out there want to learn how to wrap cables, let me know. I'll teach you. It's one of the few things that I do know how to do.
Oh, you know tons of great
No,
stuff.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I know how to wrap a cable.
As a matter of fact,
Huh.
you know so many great things that we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of knowing such great things.
This is
1 year of
This is true.
Quizneyland.
Tomorrow, the 1 year Quizneyland episode will come out. It'll be fun. We had
Exciting.
everybody was there. If you're hearing it here first, the Quizneyland 1 year megasode, or I don't know what we're gonna call it, something fun. But
Megasode.
Larry was there, and Melissa and Heyzen were there, and we asked each other a bunch of questions. I got like a 1 hour big ol' episode compared to what Quizneyland's little 8-10 minute episodes usually are. So it was a fun time.
It was fun.
It was. We
I
learned a
would
few
love
things.
to be able to do that again. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll put it on. This won't be the first time. I think this will be a recurring thing as long as we can find the time. I think is the is the key factor there.
Yeah.
I agree. These would be fun if we just did like half-hour versions instead of doing like 3 questions. We could all do like 1 or 2, and then maybe we could toss them up as like after shows or something.
Something, you know what?
I think that would be fun.
I think.
Yeah.
You know what? FGP members and want to be FGP members. Listen to this Quizneyland coming up and let us know if you like the format because we thought it was fun and funny and informative. So if you guys like it, we'll do more. Like it was fun. So happy to do more of those.
Totally. I mean, they could even give us the topics or the areas if whatever questions. Like, I think that'd be cool. Yeah.
I'd be so down. All right. Well, like Andrew said, let us know if you like it. And if you do, we'll plan on doing that for Patreon. We'll throw some after shows in the same style. So, yeah, that's coming up. It's going to be tomorrow. If you're listening to this on launch day, tomorrow will be the 1 year anniversary of Quizneyland. I'm super excited about that. I'm so proud of what you've created with Quizneyland, Andrew. It's been so fun. I've learned so much. There's been certain things that you've talked about where I thought it was something totally different, and then you said something different. I thought, no, what? And then I had to go look it up, and I'm like, well, son of a gun, he's right. So I had to like remember it the right way now.
You know, that's what you get when you start actually looking in. Like you'll learn, you learn something one way and be like, okay, now I'm gonna write a question about this or whatever. So I'm gonna go in and look it up and make sure I have all the facts and get some other stuff. I'm like, oh, I guess I remembered that wrong, or somebody told me that wrong. So
damn facts getting in the way all the time.
Yeah, and it's you know what, but it's fun going down like a Wikipedia rabbit hole. Like I'll click one thing and I'll be like, oh, what is this thing? And then a link and a link and a link, and I'll end up 5 pages deep into why I just looked up like the Haunted Mansion and I ended up like on the like Insane Clown Posse Wikipedia or something. Like
I've been there. Rabbit holes are dangerous.
Yes.
Okay, because I could be searching for how to pronounce something, and then 16 and a half hours later, I know like every little bit and piece about where the word came from and who's used it and why they changed it and why it's pronounced that way and what it's evolved into, and it's crazy. It
Sean
is insane.
Tootle. I don't know if you've seen those videos, but if anybody knows what Sean Tootle is, let me know. I'm not gonna give any context.
I'm gonna have to search for that.
You're
That's
not gonna find it. If you look up Sean Tootle, you're not gonna find it.
Or am I?
All right. Well, you know what, Sean Tootle.
I mean, we've been down rabbit holes, so hey,
I'll
you
text
never
it
know.
to you, but the listener, let me know if you know what Sean Tootle is.
Uh-oh.
Sean
I don't know
Tootle.
Is this minivan safe? Is that?
It's very
are we-
minivan safe.
Okay.
It's a mispronounced word. I will say that. Sean Tootle.
Got it. So much to talk about this week. But we're going to try to narrow it down because, it's Halloween week. We've been trying to prep for the auctions that we're going to be doing for Walk for Hope. It's really close. We're like a week and a half away, 2 weeks away at this point. And I want to make sure that we get these auctions up and running. Hopefully we can hit our $1,000 goal. And so that's going to be posted on Instagram. Hopefully by the time that you listen to this episode, it'll be on Discord as well. So keep an eye out for that. We got a couple of items that are going to be coming up very soon. And I'm excited about that. So, and then we want to talk about Werewolf by Night because we all had an opportunity to watch that finally. There's some crazy news about James Gunn that we want to talk about, couple trailers. I want to get started. But first of all, I do want to say thank you to FGP Squad member Anita because you know how I've been talking about printing cool stuff, getting a 3D printer in general so that I'm able to print a bunch of cool stuff and, I'm able to either produce stuff for me or send all of you different things that I make. Well, an artist that we know, Brian Kessinger, I first became aware of Brian Kessinger's work on Instagram, and I saw him at Disneyland at an event that he had done. I don't want to say how many years ago it was because, one, I don't remember, and two, it feels like it was a really long time ago.
1906.
It was 1906. Yes, that sounds familiar. So he does this series called Lil Kylo, and they're super adorable. They look like Calvin and Hobbes, but they're all like Kylo Ren based like panels, and I think that they're super cool. He does a lot of really cool stuff. But he released on his website STL files for the Mickey pumpkins on Main Street.
That's
and I
cool.
think it's like 3 different ones with 3 different faces. And I just thought this is super cool. I don't have a 3D printer, but he did have them up for free. So I was able to grab those so I can hold on to them for whenever I'm ready. Or I'll send them to somebody. At least for now, it's a little late because we're past Halloween. But hey, you can never be too prepared for next year.
Or
That's
just
right.
whenever you get, what? Why not have a pumpkin year round? Like,
You could.
There's no rules.
I mean, there are
who makes
pumpkins
the
year-round
rules
in
of your
Dreamlight
house?
Valley, right?
Who make your house your rules? You know what? You want pumpkin on the table all year? Why not?
Thank you.
You know what? You are correct.
Yep.
You know what? I completely flipped on this
All
one.
right, you got it.
Yes,
I'm
you're
going to leave
correct.
my Christmas decorations up all year.
All right. You win. You know what? I guess you could paint it with Christmassy colors,
Christmas pumpkin.
and then it could be a Christmas pumpkin.
And then you can have like
Yeah.
a Valentine's Day pumpkin and a 4th of July pumpkin. And
It's the Valentine's Day pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
That's like, who is it? Jill has a tree up all
Skeleton.
year? Oh, skeleton all year.
Yeah.
Skeleton.
She does.
Well, there you go.
So why not?
All right. You know what? That settles it. I'm getting a 3D printer.
Thanksgiving pumpkin, you put a little hat on it, a little pilgrim hat. Christmas,
Right.
you know how I like
I'm
putting
for
Santa
it.
hats on stuff. Santa hat on
You
a
do.
pumpkin. Very pro
For
Santa
Valentine's
hat.
Day, we can get like a little bow and arrow with
And a
heart,
diaper.
just like and a diaper. Pumpkin in a diaper.
Pumpkin. You know what? Pumpkin in a diaper. I don't think anybody's done that before. Oh, well, I'm
It's
not
the
gonna put
Easter
it past.
pumpkin.
Bunny
the
ears on
Easter
a pumpkin.
Bunny ears painted
Um,
like an Easter egg. That would be kind of fun, I think.
Arbor Day pumpkin.
Ooh, Boxing Day.
Abraham
Yeah, yeah.
Lincoln's birthday.
Groundhog Day pumpkin.
Abraham
be
Lincoln
fun.
birthday, but a top hat on.
Okay,
Talk like
okay.
a pirate day.
Oh.
Oh,
It's
Yeah.
dress up the pumpkin like a pirate.
it's just never ending. There's
You know what? You've convinced me. I think this has to happen. This
Yeah.
has now solidified the fact that I just need to get a 3D printer.
I agree.
Definitely.
You know what? Does it spark you joy, Heyzen? Does a 3D printer spark joy?
I mean, it will once I have it.
So there you go.
There you go.
It can't right now because I don't have it.
According to whoever that was, remember that during the pandemic?
Wasn't that Marie Kondo?
Yeah, her.
Yes.
It was like really big during the pandemic because everybody's home and they were throwing all their stuff away.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but wasn't her deal like throw everything away? Not
Well, but it's got to spark joy. So that doesn't mean like you just got to get stuff. That's how I took it. Get stuff that get rid of the stuff that doesn't, but then you just got to get stuff that does. That's how I took it. There's two sides to every coin. Unless it's some other kind of weird coin that has 3 sides.
What if it's like Harvey Dent's coin and like once like it's
I have one of those
face, but then like one side is slashed.
I reached on my shelf. I got a Harvey Dent coin. You can't tell.
Of
And
course.
the people listening, I have a Harvey
The
Dent
people
coin.
listening cannot
He
see that.
literally just
It's
turned
here.
around and grabbed the
Here, hold on. I'm
coin.
going to tap it on the microphone. Here it is.
Wow.
I'm going to tap it on the mic. There it is. Harvey Dent comes up. It came in. I'll tell you about it since I have it. It came in the box set for The Dark Knight, the Blu-ray, something, blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes, that was, whenever that came out. Anyway, Andrew tangent
like Harvey
over.
Dent.
Harvey Dent.
Yeah. What were we talking about? I don't
We were
even know how
talking
we started
about
talking
the 3D pumpkins that Anitza had sent us.
Yes.
Yes.
So thank you, Anitza,
Yes.
for making me aware of the fact that Brian made these STL files available on his site. I will post a link on the Discord channel in case anyone out there does have a 3D printer or knows anyone with a 3D printer and can get them printed. I obviously do not, so I'm just going to hold on to these files for now. And it was cool because I also have an STL file for an Iron Man suit.
Hey.
That's going to be a lot of filament. But hey, I need to get a 3D printer.
I'm telling you, get
you know
one,
what?
and I'm going to send you the filament. I'll pay for it.
You know what? You're not the first person that told me that either. I don't know if it was because somebody heard you say it before. I have like 4 or 5 other people that are like, look, dude, if you get a 3D printer, there's stuff I want printed. I will send you filament and just print them for me. Whatever's left over, you can keep it for yourself. I'm like,
Right.
I can just imagine my Iron Man suit is going to be like 84 different colors of filament all like mixed together.
It'll be nice and marbly, so hey.
Oh, good one.
You're welcome.
Marvelous. I love it. Hey, speaking of Iron Man, there's I don't know if it's a confession or if it's just hey, by the way, because as many of us know, magic bands recently came to the Disneyland Resort, and look, quite honestly, I just don't understand the magic band. Technologically, I understand the magic band. I want to make that clear. But if you're not vacationing, I don't know. I think it's, look, I hate to say it like this, but I think it's kind of useless, okay? Mm-hmm. And you have an app if you have it on the phone. Like, look, we've talked about this a couple times in previous episodes. So go back to the previous episodes. You can listen to how I feel about it, and you can even hear about the cool new technology that we're pitching to Disney so that they can make it a part of the new Magic Band 4++. That's going to come out in 2023. The new beacon technology. So again, I don't know if it's a confession or what to call it, but
Excuse me, what?
Huh?
I got a magic band?
I don't think I heard you.
You what now? Sorry, excuse me.
I got a magic band.
Oh, Heyzen got a magic band. Okay, so what is the reason Heyzen has a magic band?
FOMO?
That's not it.
That's usually the reason.
No, here's what happened. So
what happened
we had a conversation. What happened was we had the conversation about the magic bands, and my wife, when she knew that they were coming to Disneyland, she started looking into possibly getting one for herself, and then the kids caught wind of it, and the kids are like, oh, we want magic bands too. But at the same time, like, old man Heyzen's over here like, they're useless, blah, 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 blah. And then my wife found out about the discount that D23 members got when purchasing the magic bands as well. You know, when she was looking at them, she sent me a message and said, hey, do you think you would want a magic band? They have this cool Iron Man one, which I had already seen. Like, I already knew that it existed. And she's like, hey, do you want a magic band? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. I mean, if you want to get it from me, I don't know, maybe. It's up to you. And lo and behold, 2 days later, a magic band showed up at my doorstep for me. And so, you know, the magic band just kind of came to be. And so now I have an Iron Man magic band. And it's, you know, for what it is, I understand why Larry's popped off. I did get an opportunity to sync it to my app and, you know, play around with it a little bit. It doesn't, I changed it to blue so that the arc reactor reacts as blue the way that, you know, it does on his suit. But for some reason, it doesn't stay like that. It defaults back to red. And I don't know if it's because it's just not synced to the app at the time, but I haven't played enough with it to see it blue at all, other than when I made the change in the app and it confirmed that it was going to use the blue color scheme. But yeah, I did get an opportunity to place it on my wrist, and I can see exactly why Larry's popped off. It takes a little bit to get the little pegs to click into the holes of the band, and if you're not careful and you don't hear the snap of the little pegs just kind of making it all the way through, it'll just kind of hover in the middle. And I think that's what may have happened to Larry's, like it wasn't snapped all the way through, and that's why his popped off of his hand. My wife did find, you know, we were talking about creating these little cotter pins and all sorts of different technology to hold it in place. Well, it turns out on Amazon, you can just buy little silicone rings that hold watch bands in place, and you can slide one into the magic band, you lock it into position, and then you slide the little silicone ring just kind of above where the little pegs like slide into the holes. And it does feel a little more secure. I will say that once we added those bands, it did help in helping it feel secure. I waved my hand in the air like a crazy person for a good few minutes. Care? Oh, no, I cared because I was really hoping that it didn't go flying and hit the wall. So I cared. Trust me.
Really cared.
But I did wave it in the air, and it didn't fly off my arm. As a matter of fact, it was so snug because, as Larry so graciously put it, because of my Hulk wrists, that it really didn't move at all. Like, it was kind of difficult for it to even move. So if you have a smaller wrist, you may run into some issues. Depending on how... if you get like a silicone wrap, like the little silicone ring, I'll post a picture of it on Discord for anybody that's interested.
It's just like the watch band, like keeper thing.
It's exactly like the watch band, yeah. But some are thinner, some are thicker, and depending on like the millimeters, like the millimeter of the watch band itself, if it's too wide, it's not going to hold it in place. It's actually it's not going to cause enough friction to hold it for you. So I will say that's one thing you're going to want to keep in mind. Make sure that you get something that will hold the magic band in place, or will stay in place, that it doesn't wiggle around basically once you put that back in there. But other than that, I mean, it's an NFC device. It's exactly what it's supposed to be. I think I've told the story on here before. If not, I've told the FGP Squad on one of the calls that I had modified a sonic screwdriver so that it opened doors for me with one of my badges. I'm not going to mention where or how or why, but I had done that at one point, and it was fun. But I will say that we did, because we talked about the magic band flying, we got a comment from FGP Squad member Adriana on the post for last week's episode And she said, I'm part way through the episode, but before I forget, I have to comment. The band popping off made my heart drop. I'm glad it was recovered. I got a Magic Band at Walt Disney World, and I hated having my smartwatch and the Magic Band. It felt cumbersome. But I found this lanyard attachment and used that instead. I really like it better than on my wrist because I don't pay attention. So I probably wouldn't notice it falling off my wrist when I'm already not used to having it. And I agree. I mean, this was kind of my argument too, right? That if you're not used to having it on your other wrist, it just feels weird. And then, I put them on next to each other, and it just looked like dorky. It just looked super weird, and it felt weird because neither my watch nor the Magic Band was long enough to be well supported higher up on my wrist, like into my arm, right? So they had to be so close to the bottom of my wrist that it just felt awkward. Now, Adriana did mention that she does have the last generation of Magic Band, and I'm not exactly sure why they removed this feature, but we talked about this as well, that the fact that you could take the puck out and then put it into another wrap or another holder, around your neck or something, which is what Adriana did. That is so cool because then you do not have to worry about the wrist. So I hate that they didn't add that to the Plus band. Plus is Generation 3, I believe. So it kind of sucks that they didn't put it on the third one, but I understand why they didn't, because they want to sell you more Magic Bands, and they can't do that if they, if you're just getting something else or getting these things on Amazon. So, yeah, Heyzen has a Magic Band now.
You know what? I'm sure somebody will come up with a way to modify it. You cut the band off and stick it in a thing or something. I don't know. Somebody's gonna come up with something on Etsy or Instagram or something where you do something, Magic Band pouch.
So I get what you're saying, but Mel made a really great comment to that because Larry said, "Oh, I think I'm just gonna cut it." He mentioned something about cutting his. I don't remember exactly what the comment was, but I do remember Mel said, "Why would you cut it? It's a Magic Band. It's so expensive." And the thing is that it's all one piece. There's no way, the design goes down the entire strap.
Yeah.
Right. If you cut it, then you ruin the strap and the design. And
I
if
see
you got
4
it
little
specifically,
screws on the back. There's got to be something there. I got to buy one of these and take it apart, it sounds like, is what Andrew needs to do. I'm going to Disneyland in a couple weeks. I'm going to buy one and experiment.
Okay, you know what? I just saw the screws. I had not seen those before.
There's some screws.
And now I want to experiment myself. Because you're right. If you could technically remove it, you could technically put it in another housing. You know what?
Yes.
This solidifies it. I have to buy a 3D printer.
Right? Seriously.
It seems like every 5-6 episodes, Heyzen has to buy a 3D printer, and I just don't know why it hasn't happened yet.
But the thing is that look, it's every episode I want a 3D printer, but think of the practical uses.
I'm not
just talked about 2 or 3.
We're all pro Heyzen getting a 3D printer.
Okay,
all of us are.
Okay, good. Okay. I don't know if
we're not the ones you have to convince.
I don't know if the good people at Chassé are ready for that type of purchase right now, but we'll see.
You know what? Just start small and go from there. I don't know.
Listen, if anybody out there sees any good deals for Black Friday or for Cyber Monday, let me know, because I'm strongly going to consider it. My only other, honestly, part of the reason I haven't really gotten one is because I don't have the space for it. I don't know where I would put it. The footprint is pretty large for some 3D printers. Because it's not just where they sit, it's the back and forth movement of the tray that it has to have clearance. And we have, the cutting machines, and even that struggles because we don't have enough space for those.
Sounds like, you know what? I'm not going to get into it. Well,
it's a me problem, I know.
It sounds like a Heyzen problem.
It is a me problem.
Heyzen's
If
working
we
on
were
the
already-
Heyzen problem.
If we were already at Studio Podketeers, then we wouldn't have to worry about it because we would just have like an entire like 3D printing farm, right?
Why
But
don't
we're not
we-
there yet.
We'll buy a 3D printer and print Studio Podketeers.
This is genius. If we get started now, we'll be ready to launch in 2042.
You know what? One
Sounds
brick at
great.
a time. Just giant Legos.
All right, let's do it. So I have a Magic Band, and I'm hoping that at some point in the next few months I get a chance to go use it in the parks because my pass is going to expire in March. I don't know when I'm going to get an opportunity to go back to the parks, but I am hoping to go back sometime soon. Crossing my fingers that will be an option for me. But yeah, I'll report back on how it is and what my experience is once I finally do get an opportunity to use it.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
But I am interested to see what you do with yours when you take it apart. I'll wait for you to take it apart before I take mine apart.
I've locked myself into saying this, so I got to remember to buy one when I'm there.
Oh, we'll remind you.
I guess I can order one online too, but I'm gonna be there, so I gotta get the. I'll do it. I'll take it apart.
But get the least expensive one.
Yeah, just a
and then
plain
wait till
one,
you have
blue.
like a 20% off from Shop Disney. That way, in case something goes awry, you didn't spend so much money on it.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll just get blue.
Just
Blue.
get a child size.
Green.
You're good.
Are they cheaper?
I mean, I hope so, because
I mean, it's the same Magic Band. You just
Has a
kind of
smaller
cut it
band.
down to a
see.
child's.
oh.
Yeah, it's the same one. They don't have a specific size for kids. It's just modified for kids.
Blue is $35 on Shop Disney.
Yeah, that's the least expensive one. So, hey, since we were mentioning the NFC and the sonic screwdriver, I mean, am I the only one that's going to rejoice about this? But Doctor Who's coming to Disney Plus.
Who?
Doctor Who,
Who?
the Doctor.
Doctor Who.
Yes, Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Doctor Who.
Yes, the Doctor.
Yes, the Who.
That's him. Yeah, exactly. That's him.
Who?
The Doctor.
Yeah, who?
The
I
Doctor.
feel like I should have been tallying how many times we hear who.
Third base.
I was like,
I'm so excited
counting.
about this. I didn't get into Doctor Who until the reboot that happened with technically Christopher Eccleston. And then David Tennant came on board, and I loved the shows that David Tennant was the Doctor. Then Matt Smith came on, and he became the 11th Doctor, and I loved all of Matt Smith's episodes. I loved all the specials that they did with William Hurt and, the Day of the Doctor and everything. And I was kind of mixed on the Peter Capaldi episodes. I like some of them. I probably like half to maybe about 3/4 of them. And then the Jodie Whittaker episodes, I was so excited when they first brought on Jodie Whittaker. I thought, like, oh, man, what a cool way to reinvent the franchise, the first female Doctor, and it was so cool. And then they took these weird turns with the series. Like, they started retconning things, and they started changing origin stories, and it was, I'm not allowed to say that word, it was a cluster bunch of weird
Those two
and
words
bad.
mean the same thing.
I know, but I can't use the other word. So, yeah, the Jodie Whittaker episodes had some good episodes, but in general were more confusing than anything else. And the news broke that Russell T Davies, who had been the showrunner when David Tennant was the Doctor, came back on board. He's going to be show running the series again. And what's crazy is that when Jodie Whittaker, at the end of the run of every Doctor, they regenerate in the very last episode that they're in. They regenerate into the new Doctor that's now going to take on the series. And in this one, they didn't regenerate into Nutigatwa, who is technically going to be the next Doctor. Everybody thought that he was going to be the 14th because Jodie Whittaker's was the 13th. Instead, she regenerated into a very familiar face, into David Tennant.
Wait, what?
And so David Tennant is back as the Doctor. However, he's not back as the 10th Doctor. He's officially the 14th Doctor.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so he's the 14th, and the next Doctor will be the 15th. And so he's not coming back for like a full series. I think he's doing like 3 special episodes that are going to serve as a bridge from that are, I guess, supposed to fix a lot of the things that made Jodie Whittaker's run super confusing and fix some of the plot lines and storylines that kind of broke the lore of Doctor Who, because if you know anything about Doctor Who, they have this guy called the Master, and they kind of like change the origin. And I want to say that the reason that he was able to go back to an old version of him is because of something that they did with the Master in Jodie Whittaker's run. Like they might use that kind of as the reasoning behind it. I'm probably boring a bunch of people talking about Doctor Who right now. But look, I gotta tell you,
his name is Andrew. His name is Andrew. He's sitting right here staring
I'm
up in
actually
space.
interested now.
I can't even tell you how excited I am. David Tennant was my favorite Doctor. Not even second to Matt Smith, because Matt Smith was second to David Tennant. And then William Hurt was probably my third favorite. But this run is going to be interesting because the last time that David Tennant played the Doctor was 11 years ago. So for him to revisit this as a new version of the Doctor, technically not even the one he was, is going to be really interesting, at least for me. And so the reason I'm bringing this up, this is how it all ties to our podcast. The reason I'm bringing it up is because it's coming to Disney Plus. And I think I said that at the beginning, but
You did.
I'm overly caffeinated, and I'm super excited, and I'm breathing really fast. My heart is racing right now. Please watch out for me, because I don't know if I'm going to pass out from the excitement, but it's coming to Disney Plus. Outside of the UK, Disney Plus. In the UK, still on BBC. A lot of the episodes were on HBO Max. Everything up through season 13 is currently on HBO Max. As far as I know, the specials and everything going forward are supposed to be on Disney Plus, but I don't know what's going to happen to the first 13 seasons, especially considering that HBO Max is... I'm going to go back to calling it a cluster bunch. Because we just don't know what's happening with HBO Max right now. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that once that all settles, or their contracts run out, or whatever the case might be, that the rest of Doctor Who will also make it to Disney Plus, so that everything, the first 13 seasons and everything going forward, will be there too. So late 2023, I think November 2023 is when we're going to start to see these first 3 specials. Once these specials air, the 14th Doctor, David Tennant's 14th Doctor, will eventually regenerate into Ncuti Gatwa's 15th Doctor. So, sorry if I bored anyone out there, but I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am about this.
So is Doctor Who, is it more like Grey's Anatomy, or is it like more like Dr. Quinn or House?
It's like all of them. It's like Scrubs, House,
Chicago Med.
NYPD Blue, all of those.
That's a cop show. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. So the Cliff Notes version is that the Doctor is the name that he's given himself to hide his true identity. Like nobody knows his real name. Yeah, I guess you can say that. But
is he a doctor?
Sure. Why not?
Does he have a PhD?
No, but neither does Dr. Pepper, and everybody respects that one. So
you don't know Dr. Pepper. You don't know from Dr. Pepper.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah, no, I don't know. I don't think he's a doctor, but he is a Time Lord. It's a race of time traveling aliens. He travels through space in something called the TARDIS, which looks like a blue phone booth, which is bigger on the inside. And he goes around with his companions, just people that he picks up on Earth that are willing to go on these crazy adventures with him. And it's been going on for 60 years now, 60 plus years. And yeah, HBO Max, watch them. Don't start with the Chris Eccleston ones. I'll tell you that. If you're new to Doctor Who and you're curious about it, start with the 10th Doctor, which is technically the second season of the reboot. Those are the ones with David Tennant. Chris Eccleston is a good Doctor, but he's not everyone's cup of tea. He's a lot drier.
No, that's
how
the guy
he
from
portrays
Charlie
the
and the
Doctor.
Chocolate Factory, the Good Doctor. That's on CBS.
Yeah, the Good Doctor. Yeah, no, that is on CBS. Yeah. Wasn't that with Juliana Margulies?
I don't know. It's got the kid that played Charlie in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
That is
But
true.
now he's an adult, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would imagine he's an adult now.
I would.
Is
I
he
mean,
a doctor? Or is he in the NYPD?
He is a doctor. I think it takes place in Seattle. I don't know.
Oh, at Seattle Hope?
Maybe.
I learned that Seattle Hope is the name of the hospital with McScrubby.
What is going on here? McScrub. What's McScrubby? Is that
What-
like a? I'm googling
The
it.
guy that marries she just got a Disney Legend Award with Meredith
Oh,
Baxter.
Ellen Pompeo.
Yes, her.
Meredith. Are you? Meredith Baxter? You're thinking Meredith Baxter Burney, who's an actress. You're talking
Talk
about
about a rabbit hole.
Meredith Grey, who's from Grey's Anatomy.
Yes, her. Yes. That's what I said. What are you talking about?
You said Meredith Baxter Burney is an actress who was something. I don't know. She's an actress. Family Ties.
Oh,
wow.
sha-la-la.
Yeah, and what does all this have to do with a really long
Look,
what does it have to do with a really
listen,
long scarf?
Listen. It all ties together because Sha-La-La-La was the show that made Michael J. Fox, and Michael J. Fox went on to do Back to the Future, which was a show about time traveling, just like
Wait,
Doctor
why
Who.
did you call it Sha-La-La-La? It's Family Ties.
It's from
You
the theme
did.
song. Sha-La-La-La.
Yeah, but that's not the Baymax thing.
no, that's
that's-
ba-la-la-la-la.
Ba-la-la-la.
Oh man, we're not tired at all.
Three's
What were we
Company
talking
Two.
Do-do-do-do-do.
I don't know.
Knock on
I
the
think
door.
it's the end of whatever we were talking about. Doctor
It
Who.
is. It's time to move
Yes.
on.
Okay, but before we move on, maybe we should thank a few great folks. I think this is probably a good spot to do that. A little good reset, just take a break,
It is a
take
great time to
breather.
reset.
Thank some people.
Everybody take a breath. Take a breath. Calm blue ocean. Calm blue ocean. Serenity now.
Sibilance.
Serenity now. So yeah, we want to take this moment to thank a very special group of people known as the FGP Squad, our podcast Fairy Godparents, because it is their support via Patreon that help make these episodes of Podketeers possible. If you are interested in becoming part of the FGP Squad family, you can get more information by going to podketeers.com/FGP. There you will find a link to our Patreon, a list of some of our top contributors, and some info on the FGP Squad itself. Being a part of the FGP Squad family gets you some additional perks like access to our happy hour calls, access to the Podketeers after show and additional recordings over on Patreon, discounts on Podketeers gear, first access to new products that we put out, random giveaways, and more. So if you want, again, more information on how you can become part of the FGP Squad family, head on over to podketeers.com/FGP. And to all of the members of the FGP Squad, we just want to send a huge thank you for your continued support.
And you know what? I wasn't here last week, so I didn't get to spin the wheel. So
We
it's
missed
time
it.
to... Yeah, we didn't spin the wheel. That's okay. That's my bit. So we're spinning the wheel. Flop, 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 flop. I didn't spin it very hard. It stopped already. And this week we're thinking...
Come on, 1 penny.
Sorry, we didn't get 1 penny. We got Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie!
Eddie. So I know it was Eddie's
Hey.
birthday recently. Happy birthday, Eddie. You know, you have many places you can spend your money, and we thank you that you give it to us. That just shows how good of taste that you have, Eddie, by sending us a few dollars to help us put on this show. You know what? I don't know. I only have so many compliments, and I just go into "you're so cool." And I'm trying to come up with like some more nice things to say about people, but I'm a man of a few words. So I don't know. You know what's cool? You are, Eddie. Thanks for being an FGP member.
Sha-la-la-la.
Sha-la-la-la. Eddie, you're more fun than bubble wrap. I don't know. You're cool as the other side of the pillow. All that and a bag of potato chips.
Oh, all that and a bag
of potato chips. That's Eddie. Everyone.
Well, happy birthday, Eddie, and we hope that you had a great day celebrating your birthday. Birthday. We got to move on. We have a couple more things to talk about. Let's start with the Quantumania trailer, because this is something that we've been anticipating for some time. Finally got released a week or so ago. And thoughts on Quantumania trailer?
Goodbye,
it's gonna be a
Yellow
ride.
Brick Road.
There you go.
I can only sing so much. Yeah. You know what?
Now we're gonna get a copyright strike.
You know what? I'm just gonna say, thanks, Spider-Man.
That's like the best line of the trailer.
Yep.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
But it looks fun. We get to see Kang in a movie, so that's gonna be fun.
Ryan, he ain't playing.
Bill Murray's there for some reason. I don't know. There's just like a half a second shot of Bill Murray in like a blue jacket. Yeah, all these quantum realm folks are, got kind of, weird robot things and monster things and people in capes and stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how and what and why and, what the whole family's in there. They all get sucked
Practically.
in. Yeah. You get Scott and everybody else that's not Scott.
Wow.
He's the only one I remember.
His daughter Cassie.
Hope.
And Hope.
Yeah.
And her parents.
And
Hank.
Damn
it, Andrew. No, wrong Hank.
Yes. And Bobby. And
damn it, Bobby.
And I can't remember even the King of the Hill characters. Dale Gribble.
Boomhauer.
Boomhauer. Thank you, guys. That's what I was trying to think. It was Boomhauer. Anyway, the whole family's in there.
Quantumania, man. It's crazy.
Pocket sand.
Yeah, look, I don't know how a lot of other people felt, but I was kind of concerned about what Ant-Man's Quantumania was going to be, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. But I like Paul Rudd, and I had faith in the film because of Paul Rudd. And, I mean, not that anyone else on the cast isn't great, right? But I like Paul Rudd. And just so you know, the fact that the reason Bill Murray's in there is because there's going to be a groundhog at some point, and he's got to deal with the groundhog. Don't ask me how, but it is the multiverse, and they're in the quantum realm, and you don't know what happens in the quantum realm. He could very well have to deal with the groundhog. So there you go.
You said groundhog, and I immediately thought of the gopher from Caddyshack. That's the wrong movie.
Nah, that's the wrong movie. Yeah. But I am excited about this one, and the biggest reason, a lot of the Marvel films seem to overlap themselves, and some of them overlap a lot, some of them are years apart from each other, but if you remember Loki, when we finally got the scene when they finally get to who's controlling everything, there's a line about following a signal, and at that point, we were thinking about, it's something to do with the TVA, and maybe it's, having to do with, who's sending out this signal. And in this trailer, you hear Cassie say, oh, yeah, we're sending out the signal, and everybody freaks out like, wait, you're sending a signal into the quantum realm? Is that the same signal?
Oh, I didn't think about that. I did not think about that. Yeah, and then how terrified. I just remember like how terrified everybody was, and it's like now we're gonna find out what it is and what it's gonna do. But yeah, dang.
Yeah. Yeah, so when we got the scenes with Kang in Loki, it was pretty exciting because
Mm-hmm.
he does mention that there are many instances of him and that he's like the one of the nicer ones, right? Like he's not
Right.
like the horrible one. Otherwise they'd be gone right now. But
Right.
now I'm starting to wonder like how's Loki 2 going to hook into this movie? And how is Loki 2 going to play into the other parts of the multiverse? And how is it going to play to the end of Multiverse of Madness, considering that now is where they're interweaving with each other? Like, I really do believe that this signal that Cassie is sending out is the same one that Kang heard in Loki.
Also, can we talk about how quickly you were able to see like in the quantum realm all the different realms around, and it's like this movie is just not just multiverse of madness, but is just going deeper and deeper and just all these different worlds and stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
whew, this is
Yeah.
gonna be fun, crazy but fun. But yeah, Kane just doesn't look friendly at all.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting how they differentiate the stories of the quantum realm and the
Mm-hmm.
multiverse, right? Because they're
Yeah.
not the same thing. They're
Right.
two different spaces in time and in space.
And
like
in
the
time.
quantum realm, but it's also time though.
But what about space? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And in space and in time. Oh man, how do I explain it? It exists in subatomic particles, basically. So it's kind of all around us right now. Like it's not technically another timeline. It's like it's now, right? It's just so tiny, tiny, tiny that you can't see it. But it's now. That's what's interesting to me, that if Cassie's signal into the quantum realm does somehow turn out to be the signal that Kang hears in Loki, how are they going to interweave what happens in the quantum realm into the multiverse? Because those are parallel timelines. My head is like spinning right now thinking about how this film is going to interweave all these different storyline segments.
But what about time, though?
It's relative.
I see. Yeah, all jokes aside, I don't know. I got nothing to say. The movie looks cool. Michelle Pfeiffer's in it, and stuff happens.
Michelle Pfeiffer is in it.
Yeah, she's in it. And so it's like, what's his face? Michael,
Douglas.
Yes, Michael Douglas. Thank you. Charlie Sheen's dad.
Michael Sheen.
No, that's Michael Sheen. I don't know. I'm broken right now. So I watched the trailer and it looks fun. I'm just gonna shut up because I don't know what's
It's
going
just like
on.
I said, it's gonna be a ride. That's
It's one of
pretty
those
much it.
ones. I had too much Halloween candy. Heyzen's hopped up on caffeine. You know what? It's gonna be Melissa's tired from work. It's all kinds of
Somebody stop me.
smoking.
Oh jeez.
All right,
So we
so
got the
from one trailer
Mask,
to another,
Beetlejuice.
let's go from
Okay.
Quantumania to Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. Can I just say that this intro that they created, this like Marvel special presentation thing, I
Mhm.
love that so much.
Mhm.
Love
so
it.
cool.
Something like
It
that.
reminds me of like the old Saturday night movies or like after school specials or something. Blah, 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 special presentation. Like they nailed it. I love this. Thoughts on the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special trailer?
Cosmo, the dog.
Yes. Drax has clothes on this time.
Yes, he does.
Finally, Drax. Let's put a shirt on. Creepers.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah,
finally found that up and coming actor, Kevin Bacon. Gave him something
That's
to do.
right.
Yeah. I'm glad they gave him something to do because
I
that
thought it was
guy's
funny and they-
talented. He's going to make
Yeah.
it. I think he's
You know
going to make
what?
it after this.
Guy, I bet you he could dance.
Maybe.
But
I
they
bet
just
you
won't let
there's
him.
6 people that we know that could get us in contact with Kevin Bacon.
Well, no, we just have to know one of them. and then they know somebody
Or do we
else.
know 6 of them?
Do we know? We could. Let's see. Melissa, do you know Kevin Bacon?
No.
Heyzen, do you know Kevin Bacon?
I know bacon.
Bacon?
Bacon.
But
bacon.
what? But how does Canadian bacon factor
Look,
in
the
all of
Canadian bacon is not bacon, okay?
this? Okay, but what about fatback?
Yeah, I'll allow it.
Okay, case solved.
Meeting adjourned.
Objection. Overruled. Tampering the
Hey,
witness.
you got them in there. You got them in our law
Objection.
show.
Argumentative.
Yeah, it's funny because they come to Earth, and the entire premise is that Star-Lord is bummed out because of Gamora, right? So
Right.
And it's
Mantis and
Christmas.
Drax, and it's Christmas, and Mantis and Drax are like, hey, let's go to Earth and find him like the best Christmas present ever. And their idea of a best Christmas present ever is that they want to get Kevin Bacon for Star-Lord. And so they're down in Hollywood, they're walking around, they're doing all sorts of stuff. And all I could wonder watching them strut through Hollywood was, are they going to pull the meta-ist move ever and send them to Anaheim to Avengers Campus?
I would rather just see him like riding the Matterhorn. I think that would be more fun. Like,
With the
just put him
churro
in
in hand.
Disneyland teacups and Space Mountain, and then Drax like, this isn't anything like space. I don't know, whatever Drax
Oh,
But then he comes home with the
yeah.
balloon. Aw.
Or they go on Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, and he gets
said. And then he
mad
like
because he
punches
can't
Zurg's
score on
head off or
Zurg.
something.
There, I win. It's funny. Yeah, I don't know if that would happen, but if they pulled something where they end up at Disneyland, technically speaking, they could do it and it wouldn't ruin the storyline, right? Because technically
Right.
they're on Earth, it exists. We are on the same timeline, technically. So Disneyland does exist in this special. So the
Yeah.
fact that they didn't take an opportunity to plug it in is beyond me. This one time that you had the freedom to do it, they did
You're
it.
already in L.A.
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
Kevin. What happened?
Bacon.
Come on, little cap robot.
Oh, that Kevin. I thought you heard about Kevin Bacon. Yeah, Kevin. Anyway, yeah, but introducing Kevin Bacon, I think is a funny like in the trailer. I just billing. I think that's funny.
I like it. I'm for it.
Introducing Kevin
I'm happy.
Bacon.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And you got what's his face is in it in the beginning. I don't know, the Mohawk guy. That got the Mohawk from what's his face, Krell or whatever
Yondu?
his name is. No, not well. Yondu's
Oh,
not-
yeah.
Like his apprentice.
Well-
Yeah.
I forgot as well. Dang.
I think his name's like Krill, Crunchy,
Crunchy.
Captain Crunch.
Booberry. Frankenberry.
Hey, you know what? That's not in
Count
this.
Chocula.
It's after Halloween. Yummy Mummy.
Was Yummy Mummy a real one?
Yummy Mummy is one of them, and Fruit Brute is the other one. There's 5 of them.
No. What? I did not know
yeah.
those.
Count Chocula, Boo-Berry, Frankenberry, Yummy Mummy, Fruit Brute.
Huh.
Those are
none
the
of those-
cereal monsters.
Okay, well, let's come up with one for Craiglin because now I feel like he needs one. So,
All right.
uh,
Craggenberry.
Perfect.
okay, sure. Craggenberry. Craglinberry.
Cinnamon toast crag.
Cinnamon Toast Craglin.
Captain Crag. Oops, all
No, we gotta use
Cragberries.
his full name. Oops, all Cragberries. All right, so yeah, so we're veering off
Craggy-o
again. This
O's.
episode is so weird.
Reese's
This
Crags.
episode is all over the place.
No, I did cinnamon toast crag. I don't know. Honey Crag.
Ooh, honey crag. Cookie crisp.
Frosted Crag. Cookie
Frosted
Crag.
crag. Fruit
I don't know.
loop.
Fruit by-
crag.
fruit-
Never mind.
I can't.
All
with
right,
you
we
two.
should move on. We should move on because we still have Werewolf by Night that I want to talk about. But since we are talking about
never getting
the
outta
Guardians
here.
of the Galaxy, Yeah, no, we're gonna finish up. We're gonna bring
Okay,
it in. Let's
sure.
reel it
If
in.
you say
Let's
so,
reel
but
it
I still
in.
got like 30 more
Goofy,
cereals to go
Goofy's
through with
my
Greg.
companion right now. Goofy, let's reel this fish in. Let's reel it in. Here we go. And we brought it back in. Way to go, Goofy. Oh, yuck. All right, so we're talking about Guardians. We got to talk about James Gunn because there was some interesting news that happened this week. James Gunn, obviously, we know him best as part of the MCU for directing the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. James Gunn separated with Marvel at one point because there was some controversy about things that he said a long time ago, things that he had already addressed and apologized for and said, hey, I messed up, so sorry, let's try to move on. Eventually comes back to Marvel, but in the time that he was gone, he makes some of the best content that the DCEU has seen to date in the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. It was announced that James Gunn, along with Peter Safran, are now going to be the co-CEOs of DC Studios. CEOs. He's basically the Kevin Feige of the DCEU now.
There is hope for DC. Seriously. They've needed something like this because it stinks that their movies, they...
Stink?
Yes. I'm trying to be
their
really
movies
nice.
stink.
I mean, it would be nice if there was like some competition, like some fun stuff, like to watch through them. And they haven't had that. So,
yeah.
Knowing, I really like Peacemaker. That was fun.
Make Batman fun.
Peacemaker was good, man.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Peacemaker.
So to see
a
that,
lot.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's hope. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens. I mean,
Yeah.
hey.
And it's funny, the thing that you're talking about right now, too, about making it interesting and everything, there was a back and forth that happened with James Gunn, and they asked him about Kevin Feige, and then they asked Kevin Feige about James Gunn and, how this is going to affect their relationship and everything. And James Gunn tweeted saying, not only do I love Kevin, this was from his tweet. He says, not only do I love Kevin, he was the first person I told after I did the deal with DC. John Cena was the second. Contrary to popular belief, $1 less for Marvel is not $1 more for DC. DC and Marvel have the common goal of keeping the theater-going experience vibrant and alive. And I love that because, look, if you're a comic fan, I've talked about how growing up I was a huge Superman fan. Like, I love Superman. I love the comics. I love, the character and everything. And somewhere along the way, I kind of lost the love for Superman, and I moved on to some of the other characters. I love the X-Men, but when the X-Men cartoon was originally on, I originally gravitated to, like, Wolverine. Originally, I gravitated to Gambit, and then they got rid of Gambit. They killed him off in the damn cartoon, and then, I gravitated to Wolverine from there. But... I was a huge Superman fan growing up, and I think there's always been a part of me that still likes those characters because let me tell you, I may not follow the comics, but I have read some of the graphic novels for like DC. Like one of my favorite graphic novels of all time has always been The Killing Joke. Knowing that they're going to pay more attention and they're going to be doing better with the stories with these films that they put out, I'm excited for it because going back to James Gunn's tweet, if you're a comic book fan, for people that went out to watch Black Adam, which is currently out right now, if you're just a comic book fan, it's not going to stop you from watching Wakanda Forever. You're still going to go watch both of them. They're not they're competing, but they're not competing. They're two different universes. The only thing that this can do, and this was one of the first things that came to mind as soon as I heard the fact that James Gunn was going to be doing this now, given his relationship with Kevin Feige, I feel like this really does open the door for doing the DC versus Marvel crossovers that we've seen in the comics before. With the introduction of the X-Men and mutants and everything into the MCU, those were really great storylines. Like like years ago, like from like the mid 90s. I remember they had like this big DC versus Marvel thing where it was like Superman and Wonder Woman and like Batman versus like Captain America and like Storm and Wolverine, and yeah, it was crazy, right? And so if this does anything for comics, I feel like this might be the time where DC and Marvel clash on screen, and we get like a
That would be cool.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit-y, feel where we get like characters from different universes colliding in one.
That would be really, really, really cool. Look, I know I don't talk much about DC, but I'm actually excited. If they were to reboot, I mean, if they do, and why wouldn't they? If they wanted a brand new start? I mean, under them, like I said, look what Peacemaker did. And just the quality. I would want to go see that. Like, I was disappointed in some of the other DC movies, but it's because I know it could do better.
Yeah. The Batman. Oh, sorry.
No, actually, I like that one.
I didn't, but that's just me.
But, I mean, it could be more...
I'm like the only
It could have more life. Huh?
So I'm like the only person that didn't like that movie, apparently. Because everybody I talked to was like, oh, I like the Batman. I was like, I didn't like the Batman.
It's okay.
I have still yet to watch it, so I can't give an opinion yet. I still haven't watched it.
Well, watch it and then give us your opinion.
I will.
Over text message is fine. It's what. But yeah, I haven't been interested in DC movies since like the Nolan Batmans for me. So that was like my sweet spot of Batman. And I like the older Batmans, and it's an interesting thing to see. Batman is such like been done so many times. So is Superman. They're kind of like leaving Batman alone. They're like, okay, Batman, you don't get your own movie. Like the what's his face? Old Batman, whatever his name is. Who's playing Batman right now?
Robert Pattinson.
No, not him. The other one. There's two
Ben
Batmans
Affleck?
right now. Ben Affleck. They didn't even give him a Batman movie. They have Batman v Superman and like the Justice League and everything. So you don't get any of this. I don't know. Batman is a good character. I like Batman. So
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, but I don't know. So I guess the long and short of it is I'm interested to see where they go with this. Maybe adding a little more like heart and humor into the DC films, because the characters are there. Like they're some of the most popular characters that have existed. Superman being, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, they're all in there. Everybody knows that, the Flash, the Green Lantern, like I haven't read any comics at all, like if you don't count Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers or whatever, but I know these characters. They're like in the public consciousness, even from the, the cartoons with the Justice League and the Super Friends and everything. Like these characters exist and beloved, and people have analyzed the DC thing, over and over again, but it seems to be they tried to go too quickly. Like Marvel is like, okay, they're trying to emulate what happened with Marvel, but on a shorter time frame.
Yeah.
But just think about how many movies came before Avengers, and kind of how slow they built it, and And DC was like, okay, 1 movie, 2 movie. Okay, how about we do our Avengers? We're gonna do the Justice League, and they just like threw in a bunch of characters. And then they had to deal with who these characters are and all this stuff before their movies even happened. Aquaman and Wonder Woman and it's like Cyborg and the Flash are in there. They haven't even had a movie yet. Their direction and what they wanted to do, and who knows if this is coming from studio heads and executives just trying to like make money and be like, do that Marvel thing, but with our stuff. So hopefully that James Gunn and Peter Safran are able to have a good grasp on this and have a cohesive vision, as opposed to having these splintering, things, if that's what they're trying to do. Now, are they?
Yeah.
They could just make a bunch of fun movies. Like that would be fine too. Like people like I haven't seen it, but people liked The Joker and people liked this Batman movie, and they're not anywhere tied to this overarching DC film universe. They could do whatever they want. They don't have to do what Marvel's doing. You could just make a bunch of fun movies. Like that's okay. Most everybody's trying to make something that's a big franchise because it's the money maker. But you could just make a Penguin movie or whatever, or whatever. You can make a I don't know what's that guy? He's like the villain in the Super Friends, and it's got a skeleton head, and he talks like this, and he's voiced by Mark Hamill in something. Skeletor. No, that's not it. That's from He-Man, I think.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, there's like all those fun characters, or like. He was in what was the guy that was in Aquaman with the big black eyes and stuff?
I didn't see any of those, so I can't help you there.
You haven't seen Aquaman? I saw
haven't
Aquaman
either.
at least. The Legion of Doom. Okay, who is I guess he doesn't have a skeleton head. I think I was thinking of Skeletor. So anyway, there's all these. Let's see. Black Manta is the one person, or like Solomon Grundy, the like Hulk guy. He's funny, and make a movie out of that, or whatever. Anyway, I think it was Lex Luthor who was the main guy. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, I see what you're saying too. I mean,
But-
we haven't seen like Poison Ivy or anybody, and it's like, come on. There's like you said, there's all these characters. Bring them to life.
They've been around since like what 1930 whatever. Whenever was the first Superman comic? Like there's a well of characters that they have that are beloved by many people and are even just well known. Even if they're and they go and make a Black Adam movie, which is like I haven't seen it. I've heard good things, but I've never heard of Black Adam of anything. They're just like this is a thing. Okay, whatever. It's great, and I'm sure it's a good movie. People are saying good things about it, but where are all these other the movies that are the characters that people know? I guess is I'm sure this is what the questions they're asking too.
But what the funny thing is that when you think back on how the MCU was created, it was technically created on the backs of characters that weren't as well known or weren't as popular because at the time Marvel didn't have the rights to use the characters that were. One of their biggest,
Captain
obviously,
America's
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
but they started with Iron Man, who, for all intents and purposes, was a B player in the in the Marvel comics, right? So, I think you touched on a couple of things that I think are going to be really key for this, and I think is going to be one of the biggest reasons why this has a really great chance of being super successful, and that is that it's no longer a couple of executives that are just going to be saying, yeah, give me a Batman movie, give me a Superman movie, and because they were the only characters that most of them know, because in DC, the most popular characters are essentially the Justice League, right? So you got your Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, you kind of got your Flash, and then you got your Aquaman. Most people are familiar with the Justice League characters. And the reason I think we have a lot of Batman and Superman is because those executives were always pulling for the ones that they knew or they seemed to have grown up with. James Gunn is a true comic nerd. Okay, he loves to read comics. He loves DC and Marvel. That's why he's done such a great job with the Guardians. That's why he did such a great job with Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, because he's just a comic nerd. His brain, I feel, works very similar to Kevin Feige's brain does. Having known Kevin Feige for so long, I think he's going to use everything he's learned from interacting with him, everything he's learned about how Disney produces these films and how they plan for these films, how they plan for the franchise, and he's just going to take all of that and build it out for the DC universe. You're right. They could just put out a whole bunch of films that are just really fun, and that could be how they start out. But I have a feeling that we're going to start to see some of the secondary and tertiary characters in films that are going to begin to build storylines for the major characters, and that eventually, we're going to get a handful of films before we finally see a Justice League again, the way that we saw Avengers, right? Or we're going to see one of the other groups that is lesser known, but he's going to build franchises around some of these other characters. And I think it's going to take some time, but I think James Gunn is a really good person to do this.
Oh, yeah. Definitely is.
I 100% agree.
So time will tell, but I'm excited. Hope to, I wish him all the luck, obviously, because I think bringing some of these characters to life on screen in a much better portrayal than they've had is great, just for the industry in general. Plus, DC's been struggling for so long that they're a legacy company, man. They don't deserve to go down like this.
You know what? Maybe they just need a hard reset.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're gonna get. Yeah. Cool. So let's shift over back to the MCU, and let's talk about Werewolf by Night. This was another Marvel special presentation. I was excited about this because it looks so different. When I first saw some of the original trailers and previews and a little bit of information when they first announced it, it was directed by Michael Giacchino. Michael Giacchino, we've
The
known
composer?
primarily as a composer, but now he's directing this film. Your thoughts on Werewolf by Night?
I watched it last night. It was fun. I like, what was it, Ted? Ted was fun. Yeah, it ended with a sense of being incomplete. I feel like there was a lot more there, and it feels like this was, I don't know, it was either supposed to be a TV series or they didn't finish or something. I enjoyed watching the whole thing. The characters were fun, the storyline is fun, but it's just it was quick. It felt like, sometimes something's fast and you don't notice it. I was like, that's over already? What happened? It's the end? But what about this? What about that? It just felt like there was a lot more story to tell with this character, and I'm just curious: is this going to be a recurring Halloween thing or something, every year, kind of whatever? Because being a special presentation, who knows how this is connected with the MCU? If this is actually a quote unquote canon thing or what? But I enjoyed watching it. Yeah. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay, I've been so interested in hearing what you guys have to say, and I'm going to say that's pretty accurate, where it feels like to be continued without even being said it's to be continued, which Heyzen, I think you brought up different things that it may connect to, and so we may see them or certain characters come back, which is the coolest part.
You can talk about it. Spoiler alert, we're talking about it.
Okay. So, what's her name? Is it
Elsa?
I don't want to say. Yes, Elsa. I was like, is it Elsa or am I just thinking Frozen? I don't know. But she's definitely going to be back. I mean, that was the setup I kind of got while watching towards the end. And then Jack was really, really, really cool. Now, I know I teased you about who he was and who he's played by, and that, you know what, I think I was too hard on you, because I was like, oh, you know what, I don't think he's gonna get it, because for me I love the film that he's in. So he's in Coco and he voices Hector. So when I started hearing, I was like, wait.
Gotcha.
I know that voice.
This is the main guy. This is
Yes, he's the werewolf.
Man.
Yeah.
Jack.
Okay,
Gotcha.
okay.
So
I did not know his name. Just recognize it off the cuff.
yeah, and I was like, oh dang, I felt bad. But
That's
once
okay.
I heard, and when that happens, you're like, wait, IMDb, hold on. You're like, oh yeah, that is him. So that was a treat to see, like to hear him and just it was cool. Honestly, like just see a Latino take that center stage too. So that was cool.
Yeah.
The monsters were awesome and the but what did you guys think about the presentation in the beginning where they have the dead guy just they just
They're like animatronic or like
like this Jack in the Box thing.
That was fun.
Yeah.
You know, I was a little confused for a second. I was like, what is going on? This doesn't line up. I was like, is this bad CGI? Then I realized like what was happening. I was like, I get it now. This is funny.
Yeah.
And a little dark and a little funny.
Yeah, so I mean, oh man, I have so many thoughts on this, and I honestly do not know where to start because you get this like totally serious opening, right? And it, first of all, the cinematography in this, the feeling, the beats that were throughout the entire show were so reminiscent of the old films that he was trying to emulate when directing this, and they were so spot on. The effects, the like whenever Jack would jump around, like you're like, fake, I could see the string, right? Like it was done in such a way where the CGI didn't look advanced. Like everything looked like it belonged as part of this genre. And it was made in as this period piece, right? So first of all, they nailed that. I think they did a fantastic job with that. 2, when it comes to introducing the characters, I want to touch on what you were saying, Andrew, about whether it's MCU canon or not, because I absolutely think it's MCU canon. And part of the reason I think that is because we're already getting inklings, obviously, in She-Hulk, that we're going to see Blade. We already know we're getting a Blade movie. And Elsa Bloodstone in the comics has ties to Blade. Like at one point they like merge, into one person, and she becomes like Elsa Bladestone or something like that. So like they're really seriously tied into each other in the comic books.
Also, sorry to interrupt. That Bloodstone thing, like, that was the one thing that bothered me. I was like, so there is a Bloodstone, but then his name is Bloodstone. I was like, what?
He named it after himself.
I know, it's annoying. But anyway.
Yeah.
Continue with your thought.
So the other thing is, in the comics, Werewolf by Night, or the werewolf, Jack, is constantly getting into fights with Moon Knight. And there's a couple of really famous comics where Moon Knight and Jack, the werewolf, they go at it. So what I'm getting this weird sense that we're going to be getting more of these offshoot special presentations, or maybe even several episode series like we did with Moon Knight, that seemingly don't tie into the current MCU, but they're building a secondary storyline that will eventually end up bringing the mutants and merging with the current MCU. Because Moon Knight, I think, is going to tie in directly to Werewolf by Night. Blade will end up tying into those two series more than it's going to tie into the current MCU. And then, because we've seen in the comics, there have been interactions between Elsa and Doctor Strange, for instance, I think that's where we're going to begin to see later on, like, where they begin to kind of converge. But it really does feel like they're starting a secondary timeline of events with these like mystical characters that we like, the vampires and the werewolves and all this stuff, like all these like magical monsters and everything, versus the alien invasions and the space threats that we have with the regular MCU, and at one point they're going to merge together later on. Like, I think that's why things like Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night don't seem to tie into the current MCU, because they're purposely starting a second timeline of stories for us.
That's the exciting part. Like, this whole dark new wave of what's happening, I'm like, I want more. Like it's
Yeah.
I'm so excited, and I'm so glad that you guys are like, you guys really like this. So it's like, yes, hopefully we'll get more. And yeah,
Also,
I
his name
don't.
is Jack Russell, which is funny.
Yeah, that's right.
So Jack
Like a
Russell
dog.
Terrier is a kind of a dog, and it was played on the show Frasier. The dog's name was Eddie,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
the dad's name was Martin,
Uh-huh.
and the brother's name was Niles,
Uh-huh.
and Deadpool.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know.
You got it. You got it.
I just wanted to bring up Frasier.
But yeah, so there is some ties between Deadpool and Jack. So I'm sure that at some point something is gonna cross over there. Like I think I don't know. I really do feel like this is gonna be the storyline and timeline that will eventually merge with the current one to give us mutants finally in the MCU. But I'm excited. I want more of this. Like, to be honest, I got a message from Gavin because, you know, he had just watched Werewolf by Night, and he said, this was before I watched it, he said, dude, this is probably my favorite thing in the MCU now. I was so, like, I was excited when Mel told me about it, and then I got even more excited when Gavin said that, because I know Mel's a fan, and I knew that I was going to be excited if she was excited. But Gavin's not a huge MCU fan. So for him
Right.
to co-sign on what Mel said was like, oh, okay, wait a
That's
second.
huge.
Right? And so I went in and I finally watched it. I've watched it twice now. And I have to agree, this is one of the best things that Marvel has put out. Like, for this period piece, the way that it was filmed, the way that it was done, and the ending, I think, was just priceless. The song that they ended with, the way that it kind of, like, you know, filled in and everything, I really enjoyed that part of it. But I need more of this. Like, Michael Giacchino, please give us more of this. I enjoyed this so much. I don't even know how to describe it. This is definitely one of the best things I've seen Marvel produce.
I'm looking at the IMDb right now just to, you know, look at some of these people, and he has a lot of traditional actors, like people that don't typically act as the characters, like the guy that's the Scottish guy or whatever. He's a director. He's directed like a jillion Muppets
interesting.
things. Like he directed Muppets Haunted Mansion and
What?
a bunch of other. Yeah, he directed Muppets
Wow.
Haunted Mansion and Muppets Now, Muppets Take the Oath, like all these Muppets things. He has let's see, 30 directing credits and 17 actor credits. So he's got a lot more directing, you know. And the guy that plays the Ted Man-Thing, I guess is the character's name according to this, is like a makeup artist, like a movie makeup artist, and this other guy is like a Simpsons director and all this other stuff. He just
wow.
had a bunch of David Silverman, who was according
that
to
name.
I don't remember the Flaming Tuba, but that's played by David Silverman. So it's just like a lot of, you know, he's a non-traditional director. He's mostly known as a composer. So he's got a bunch of
Yeah.
other people that, you know, aren't usually in
works.
there. Yeah, it was all good. All the performers were great.
Yeah, if you have not had an opportunity to watch Werewolf by Night, man, I enjoyed WandaVision, I enjoyed Hawkeye, I enjoyed Loki, I enjoyed all of these other things that Marvel has put out. But if you watch one thing, watch this. Watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 1 hour. It's great for how it was produced. I'm telling you, for the period and the type of film that it was trying to emulate, Michael Giacchino nailed it. He did a great job. I like the way that they ended the story. I know what you're saying, Mel, that it does kind of feel that it's leaving it open. Obviously, that's by design because we know that more is coming. But, the fact that they didn't put at the end, like, Elsa Bloodstone will return or anything like that. Like
Doctor Strange.
The fact that it was just
return,
kind of like this, like, it almost feels like a one-off. The fact that they're introducing you to these characters was great. I almost feel like they could have done this with Moon Knight, but the complexity of how Moon Knight is as a character and, dealing with the different personalities, I think did warrant having obviously multiple shows to be able to tell that story. They would not have been able to do it in one. But if we get more characters that are going to be part of ultimately the Blade storyline, and I mean, who knows? We might get a freaking Ghost Rider episode just like this. Right? How awesome would it be if we got like a one-time Marvel special presentation and they introduce us to Johnny Blaze?
Nicolas Cage.
Okay, probably not, but okay.
But the multiverse.
True.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
but honestly, if we're gonna get any type of Ghost Rider, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Gabriel Luna at this point. I have a feeling that I don't think we're going to get the Johnny Blaze version of Ghost Rider. I think we're going to get the Robbie Reyes version of Ghost Rider. But I'm okay with that.
He was already in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm just saying they got a guy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that's what they're going to do. And I'm totally okay with it. I love Ghost Rider as a character as well. And if we get a one-time special presentation like we did for this one, I am so for it.
And one thing before we wrap it up too about the, like, you're talking about how it feels like an old movie. Even coming down to, like, the movie itself is small. It takes place in 2 locations. Mm-hmm. It's like in that castle thing and then like in the woods. And that's it.
Yeah.
And it goes back and forth between that. And again, like, you brought it up a little bit, the, like, quality of, like, there's like that swooping like over like the town, or I don't remember exactly what it was, but just it looks old. The like how things were focused and how, did they use models and things and actually like filmed this stuff as opposed to using CGI. It just felt like a lot of tactile stuff. It felt like they built the set of this house and that cage and the woods and everything were all on just sound stages. Which is how old movies were done. Mm-hmm. They're like this. Everything was in a soundstage, so that it really like adds to that like style and timeline. Even though assuming this takes place in the modern day, we're led to believe yes, it's just like old timey hunters.
Ish, yeah.
But it's like somewhat modern. Like it's not like 1765 or whatever.
No, I mean the way that especially the way that Elsa's dressed doesn't put it in a time, like in a period that would be like in the 1700s or anything like that. Like her clothes seem fairly modern, right? So yeah, I would say that it's, I don't know if it's pre or post snap, I don't know. But it's somewhere recent.
Sometime after 1986 is somebody's...
that makes sense.
Because it's something about somebody... There's a line where somebody died in 1986. So it takes place sometime after 1986.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, the final thing I want to say about this is, I know I mentioned Ghost Rider, but one thing that I've really been excited about is, how I've been playing a lot more games. Well, when we were at the D23 Expo, they announced that there was going to be a brand new Marvel game based on the Midnight Suns, and the game that was described looks really good. Like, they have a lot of characters that are going to be a part of it. Like, Midnight Suns is basically a clash between good and evil. The lineup for the Midnight Suns is kind of insane when you look back at the lineage of the characters that were there. Like, Ghost Rider was one of the members of the Midnight Suns, and including characters like Wolverine. Elsa Bloodstone was a member. Doctor Strange was a member at one point. Wong, Iron Fist, which we've seen in the Netflix series but not officially part of the MCU yet. Moon Knight as Mr. Knight. Scarlet Witch. Werewolf by Night. Jack was also a part of the Midnight Suns. So the fact that all of these characters kind of exist, the fact that they got this game, coming out, they could very well be setting up a Midnight Suns movie at some point. I don't know a lot about it because I didn't read it before. I knew a little bit about it only because of Ghost Rider. But I started to try to learn. I was trying to learn a little bit more about it when I found out about the game that was coming out. So that's even more exciting. I'm excited for the tie-in. I can't wait for the game. I can't wait for the introduction of more of these characters and how they all kind of mix in together later. And again, like I said, how they set it up so that they mix in to the current MCU timeline later on. And if we get a Midnight Suns movie, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts before we wrap up this episode, everything that's going on right now?
So what if it's Special K, but the K stands for Kraglin?
I'm going to go with no, only because if I respond differently, we're going to go into another 20-minute bit about cereal.
Okay, so let's just but oops, all Cragberries.
All right, that's a great place to end it with oops, all Cragberries. Remember, this week we also have the 1-year anniversary episode of Quizneyland.
Oh, yeah, I should be talking about that instead, but listen to it, folks.
Super exciting episode. It was super fun for all of us to be on the episode with Andrew. And like Andrew mentioned earlier, if you happen to like that format, let us know over on Discord. Let us know on the post for this episode over on Instagram. And we could do a little bit more, especially FGP Squad. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If this was something that you've enjoyed, we'd love to be able to do maybe a couple more of those for Patreon. So keep an eye out for the Walk for Hope auctions. If you want to donate and help us try to get to our $1,000 goal, head to podketeers.com/links. There you will find links to different things that we talk about, including our Walk for Hope page where you can make a donation or become a part of the team. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We'll be happy to answer any of those questions. But that's it.
Give us money.
That's going to wrap it up. Yeah, you can also give us money if you don't want to join the team.
Give us money.
Give us money.
Yeah.
Or send it to somebody who can give us money.
Yeah, it doesn't go to us.
It doesn't
goes
go
to them. It goes to cancer research, not actual cancer. We don't want to give cancer any money. That's a bad thing.
No,
not funding cancer.
We want to use the money to kill cancer.
Yeah, suck it, cancer.
Yeah, suck it, cancer. That's it. That's where we're going to end it.
Suck it, cancer.
Till next time, keep dreaming, keep moving forward, and always remember to pass on the magic. Have a fantastic week, everyone.
Bye.
See ya. Suck it, cancer.
Suck it, cancer.
Part of the Podketeers Network.